What's up? Episode 69, Blue Wall Podcast. Today we got Roosevelt Williams, half of the November Twins, correct?
Yes, that's true.
I'm going to get into what that name is all about here in a second. This is Aaron's first time behind the big chair, producing the show. Hardline's going to be taking over the role as the face since I'm leaving. So, big episode today.
The face.
I don't know if he's ready for the spotlight, but we're going to throw him out there in the bigs, and we're going to put him in the big show and just see if it...
I've been running this shit since the beginning.
Hey, man, you've been running it, but you ain't been the key...
I made it.
The guy, yeah, you made it.
I made you a star.
Exactly. But I took it all on my shoulders, and I've been running with it ever since. So I hope tonight goes very well.
This is my first time not behind the board,
I know.
And it's freaking me out.
You're gonna be wanting to look over there like, hey.
I'm not freaking out, but I feel naked a little bit. Like what's going on?
That's
here?
good because I'm picturing you naked.
Gross.
Yeah. I probably should have kept that to myself. My fault.
This looks like it needs to be.
I tried to.
There you go.
Good. Do you need a pen for writing? If you want to write anything, there's a pen right in front of you.
Yeah, I might.
Feel free to use that notebook. Hardline, you got your notebook.
I got it.
I've got a few things down here we'll be getting into. Some reason we always get on like aliens or something eventually.
Oh, nice.
I don't know why, but
I'm into aliens. I've had sex with a couple.
well, it's just theoretically possible, right? I mean, if you go by the strict numbers of the situation, millions of galaxies which have thousands of stars, and we don't know exactly what qualifies sentient life as far as, you know, how much intelligence you have to have. It could be made directly in space. There might be entities out there that never set foot on a planet and are just spacefaring, drifting on solar currents and getting pushed by
less evolved and
photons of sun getting pushed around. I totally agree with that, but I mean... Anyway, it could be anything out there like that, but let's not get into it too quick. Let's warm everybody up first. As tonight unfolds, we're going to get into some of Roosevelt's work that he does with Hilljack Films. And do you guys have a website?
Yeah, hilljackfilms.com, actually.
Way to keep it simple. Hilljack Films.
Now, that's mostly ran by Keith Williams.
.com.
And he pretty much is the creator of Hilljack Films. And he has a lot of videos that he's put up there. There's a lot of them that are really funny. There's one called My Roommate the Henchman. It's a pretty funny one. And he's got other ones. He's got this one that he does unboxings, and then he also tests out some of the products. Like there's a microphone.
I seen the one where he unboxed the... What is it? The fun... No. It has a bunch of, like... It had a comic book in it and a...
Oh, the...
Fun box. They deliver it once a month if you get...
U-Crate?
U-Crate, maybe?
U-Crate. He did a U-Crate. I know that.
There's actually some funny little things in there.
And he did this condenser mic, and he played one of his songs on there, and that video is doing pretty well. And basically, Hilljack Films is kind of his baby, and then...
You guys jumped on board?
Well, yeah, he invited us to come on board.
Do you have any type of ownership
of
the company now, or is it even that far along yet?
Yeah, with the animation side and everything, I'm pretty much a half owner of the company. And I'm also one of the co-stars of Bummed Out. And so those are the projects that Hilljack Films is going to try to make a bigger scale than most of the videos that you'll find on his YouTube channel.
Yeah. Now, basically, the biggest thing that you might have done so far would be the Boba Flex video.
Actually, there's two Boba Flex videos. From Hilljack Films. Keith Williams directed I'm Glad You're Dead, and that's how we met, was on the set of I'm Glad You're Dead. And I directed the one that came, it was, there was one video and then another one, and that's the one I directed and I animated, and that's Losing My Mind. Both Boba Flex.
Losing My Mind. Yeah, it's funny. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking a little loud there. It's funny because I worked with a girl at the Olive Garden who was dating the drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's just like a small world.
Yeah.
You know, just to... Because I want to say Danny. I'm probably totally wrong because it's been forever since I worked there.
Tommy.
He used to come in and hang out at the bar and
he's
eat,
a really cool guy.
Drink, I mean, it's just weird that dude's going on tour across the country and then just
they're
hanging out in the Olive
touring
Garden
with all the big names. And they've got a huge fan base. They're doing pretty good for themselves. They're based out of West Virginia, but they're kind of also
Columbus, right?
Yeah, some of the members either are from Columbus.
Yeah.
One of them now I think is from Washington. And,
State or D.C.?
State. And I could be wrong about that, but I think their new guitar player is from Washington. But bass player.
How did you guys get hooked up to direct these videos for them?
Keith actually met Marty McCoy on the set of another video, and that's how Keith got hooked up to direct that one. And then my fiance in the Flower Factory, which is a little crappy store in Columbus.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I know
how crappy it is.
My mom and my aunts all go there. Like, we're going. It's like 4 of them going up in a minivan with a trailer on it because they just buy all kinds of crazy stuff that they don't need.
The ceilings leak and
it's like a whole day.
But so my fiance worked there and she met the lead singer Marty McCoy and the director Keith Williams. They came in looking for props for I'm Glad You're Dead video, and through that I ended up talking to Marty and he invited me out to be on the set, and I was going there to try to land a deal to do the animate one of their videos, and that worked out pretty good. And plus I met Keith. He was directing that video, I'm Glad You're Dead, and I met him. And, and plus, see, really the weird thing about it really was fate, because although I go by Roosevelt, my actual name is Keith Williams.
Okay.
So I was talking to Marty, the lead singer, over the phone, and on Facebook, it's just Roosevelt.
Yeah.
So he saw Roosevelt Williams on there, and he told me, he was like, well, I saw that name, and I thought this guy's got to be a good artist. So so we're talking, and he's like, oh, yeah, man, come on out to the video shoot. It's in Xenia. And I thought, well, that's pretty ironic because Xenia's where I was actually born.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, that'll make it easier because I've got family members that live up there, so I could just stay the night with them while I'm at the video shoot. So, and then he was like, well, yeah, the director Keith Williams. And I was like, wait, who? And he, at this time, still, thought my real name was Roosevelt. And so I just thought it was real ironic that, my name's Keith Williams, his name's Keith Williams, and we met under those kind of circumstances. We're a lot alike. We're both trying to get into music at one point and movies at a different point. And, I mean, he's taking college classes for directing. I've written 9 movies, and I went to California to try to sell them. And
What's that process like?
I'm not sure. I didn't get very far. I had a lot of phone interviews. I talked to the phone with people at Miramax, Paramount, and other big names.
Do people just want you to send it a lot of times?
Well, yeah, but if you're really trying to set up an interview, you have to have an agent. And since I didn't have an agent, it didn't matter.
Could you fake like your own? If I was you, I would fake like I was my own agent, really talk myself up a lot, and then go in and do the interview myself.
Nice. Well, if I was me, then I'm going to have you fake being my agent.
Yeah.
So you can pull that off.
Listen, you don't want this talent to miss you. I read this story. I cried. I laughed. I had a great time. I fell in love, and then I hated everyone at the end.
Nice. I would definitely watch that. Yeah. Okay.
Feinstein.
You're my agent now. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I could play an agent. I'm almost positive I could. But we're actually coming off pretty flawless. I can see very good start so far. I just want to not to toot our own horns, but we're doing really well. Maybe Aaron's just got the touch. Maybe maybe it wasn't the equipment this whole time after all.
Was that because of that little song that popped on earlier?
Probably. It makes you watch commercials too, which kind of sucks.
That's not bad. I mean,
yeah, they are offering a pretty cool free service. You know what I mean?
Yep.
How do I get
to host your own TV show? I mean, it's kind of cool, and you don't have to be sitting in the studio. You can have a set and do whatever you want and do anything live.
The small advertisements online are a small price to pay to be able to actually own and do your own stuff creatively. Like you don't have corporates behind you saying do this way, don't talk. Whenever you have an interview with a big name, censorship.
Yeah,
like Ben Affleck, he had an interview recently, and they asked him about his family heritage of having slaves, and he was like, "Don't talk about that." Like, why? Don't hide stuff.
Why not, man?
You know, what's up? Why be so corporate about it? Everybody, you know, we're all people. We have stuff.
I don't have to account for what my ancestors did. I can,
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't me. I don't give a shit. I think we came over after that, the whole slavery business, though. But we're mutts. We went all over Europe, Germany, England, probably a little bit of Dutch in there.
Yeah.
Then we ended up down in Virginia, deep in the woods. I can only imagine what the deacons were like back in the day. But your personal baby is Stupidity Man, right?
Yes.
And you say you started that about 3 years? What'd you say?
I started animating it in 2012, but I've written, my brother Fred and I, the other half of the November Twins, we started writing them in 6th grade, and we had written over 100 of them at one point, but then some of them came up missing, and we have probably about 60 comics right now.
Now I was going to ask you, why are you pursuing the animation so much instead of, let's say, like a graphic novel or a comic book series? What do you see as one being more valuable than the other?
A fan base. I feel like cartoons can get a bigger, thicker, stronger fan base. And
really?
Comic books will have a more hardcore fan base.
I was about to say that, man.
And they'll actually love the...
they'll go watch your bad shit.
Yeah, they'll love everything more. But the cartoons... I feel like they, even though their fan base may be a little more, sporadic, I feel like if I'm trying to get, I have a lot of cartoon ideas, and so much so that I'm not sure if they would work as comics also. But with cartoons, you have more of an audience that it can get to quicker because they don't have to read. They can just sit back and just chill. Yeah, and just
watch it on their phone, watch it on
at any
whatever.
time.
Yeah.
And I just love cartoons so much. I mean, I'm such a huge fan of cartoons, and I mean, still as an adult, I love cartoons.
I watch them all the time. Now, what are you're using a computer program to help animate, or how do you do it?
I have Toon Boom Animate Pro, or no, not Animate Pro, Animate 3.
Yeah.
And that's what I use to animate on.
Can you imagine, like, trying to animate frame for frame?
I pretty much do that.
You still have to do that even on the computer?
I mean, you can do it other ways. Flash animation will let you skip that. And depending on what I'm doing, I'll make things not necessarily frame for frame, but a slide or a movement. But I'll still animate things out, every movement like that. And basically, it's a process where you sketch out a whole bunch of scribbles of the main key points of where you're moving. And then you just kind of trace those scribbles and then kind of draw the in-betweens.
Yeah.
It's tedious, but
yeah, it is.
It's fun. I love doing it.
That's usually probably why they have a team of animators working.
Yeah, that's why
Pixar has 1,500 animators working on movies. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tedious, but yeah, it's cool.
It'll be worth it when it's finished.
I'm about to say, from what I've seen so far, which would be the short skit that we shared, which we should probably share again, which I will do that actually right now really quick. That way we can get some people interested.
Is that the Stupidity Man theme song?
Yes.
Or the Bummed Out?
No. The Stupidity Man where Scaredy Man's popping up.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually funny. How did you know about that? I didn't know.
It must have been shared from Hilljack Films, and then I stole it from there and put it on.
Nice.
You know what I mean? We always try to do that. Anytime you have something you want to get out and share, man, make sure you let us know. That way we can help out with that.
Yeah, Scaredy Man's actually the original character created out of all the characters that we created for the Stupidity Man universe. And he was created by my brother Fred in 6th grade. And I thought, Scaredy Man, that's a great idea for a character. I'll come up with a friend for him, Stupidity Man. And since then we evolved the characters, and we've had them for so long that we've just been able to do so much with them. And Stupidity Man's the main character, and his best friend is Crazy Man, and Scaredy Man's really just the guy kind of in the background. So since he's scared of everything, he primarily is just hiding behind a bench.
Yeah.
He's not gonna have too much dialogue. He isn't gonna have too much focus. Really, he may end up being in every episode, hiding in the background of somewhere. You know, you just have to find it. You know, to be like a permanent Easter egg kind of.
Okay, I have this funny idea that I think is funny. Probably it's totally not funny, but here it goes. Why are you guys giggling? What are you giggling for? This guy's over here you're throwing me off.
What do you got?
Okay.
You supported Ron Paul. I see that.
Which I support that shirt. So.
Yeah, thank you. I support anybody's right to wear whatever they want on their shirt, as long as it's not stealing from me, or I don't even care if it offends me. As long as it's not stealing my stuff or hurting me, you can wear and say and do whatever you want.
Yeah, I agree. So what's the joke or funny whatever?
See, okay, it is a parody of a Harry Potter story. It's going to be about the only school that I never see in the movie, the American Academy of Witches and Wizards. And I'm going to have, basically, it's going to be a bunch of my friends, based on characters from my friends that are going to be in it. So I'm going to have like a chubby Puerto Rican guy. And he is going to be running from the cops. And you know how they run into the wall to get into the train station where they get on board? Have you guys ever seen Harry Potter?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to be running from the cops and get accidentally pushed in, is how he gets into it.
Okay, nice.
He's going to take this kid's, kick him back out and take his place because he's running from the cops. He is going to have no magic, but he's going to have a knife. Because, you know, Puerto Ricans carry knives. It's what they're known for. The Puerto Rican credit card. And his magic ability is going to be threatening people to do things and making them do it with the knife. And he's going to call it his wand, and that's going to be his magic. Like, he's going to be like, give me your food! Like, poof! Look, magic food. I got food from nowhere. You know what I mean? That's how he is going to get by.
A chubby Puerto Rican American?
Yes. And anytime something happens that is kind of unexplainable, he's going to be like, yeah, I did that with my magic. I did that with my magic, guys. So that's going to be his character. And I'm going to have my black friend Ty is going to be playing a character also, and you guys don't know him, but it was relatively well known at work that he had the stereotypical huge black penis. So he, instead of having a regular wand, he's just going to carry around like a big fucking log, and he's going to like rub it against girls, and you know what I mean, because that's going to be his fun. You know, it's going to be a lot of innuendos that his wand is his penis, basically, is how that's going to happen. Do you need another one?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind one. Just one more. Very good. I was looking for a trash can for this one. Is there a trash can?
Yes, right behind me, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so going to be a lot of innuendos.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of racism.
A lot of racism, yeah.
Exactly. One of them was going to be like someone turns his food into like chicken and watermelon or something,
yeah,
and he's gonna get pissed, and then everybody's just gonna start eating his chicken and watermelon. So like, shit, you don't want the Puerto Rican's gonna stab a piece of chicken with the knife. Like, shit, I'll eat it. You know what I mean? Give me that.
However, you should make him like him.
How long was my mic off?
I don't know. Oh, you're pulling the classic Chubbs mistake.
I was wondering. I've been trying to.
It's the classic Chubby.
Everybody else is
mine.
He pulled a Chubby.
Is mine on?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah,
You're
you're
superb.
fine.
I was just talking like this. Nobody.
Yeah. You know, I did wonder why you didn't come up in my ears.
Oh my god. God.
Thank you, sir.
I have one thing to do now.
Um,
Turn my mic on. I'm fine. You want one?
My character would be like my first day there. I get put in a room with a quote unquote gay person who's not quite come out of the closet yet, but he has a lot of femininity. I think that's the word for it.
Feminine autonomy.
Yeah, gay like tendencies. Like, see, this is what's going to happen. So a certain type of music will be playing, like the party disco music, which I'm sure that's very stereotypical because I don't think anyone listens to disco anymore. And he's going to have like a bunch of...
Techno's where it's at.
He's going to have like a bunch of pictures of UFC guys and wrestlers on the wall. You know how they're
all
half
buff
naked.
and oiled up and looking sexy.
Watching two dudes sweat it out in the middle of a cage. Like, no, I'm just seriously into UFC, guys. No, I just seriously like it. It's super good. I'm in it for the competitiveness of it. So that'll be one character, the quote-unquote in-the-closet gay guy. I'll probably be pretty much the straight man, you know what I mean? Not too much comedy, just put in funny situations, but trying to play it out like it's normal.
Okay.
I'm going to play up the relationship between Voldemort shoot, I can't remember the old guy's name.
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore,
yeah.
Yes. Like how maybe
they might have had.
I actually kept one. I know it sounded like I wanted to say Gandalf, but I was actually about to say Ganondorf. Is what I was about to say.
I am lost. Is that Harry Potter?
Yeah, that's Harry Potter shit.
Ganondorf is from.
So Zelda. I was gonna play that up, and also I was gonna. If I was able to do anything with like the actual Harry Potter characters, I would mention them like not directly, but reference situations that might be happening with them. So I'd be like. It'd be like, shit, man. These dudes over in England are always messing shit, you know what I mean? Because they're always starting trouble, you know what I mean? Like, shit, man.
Like the school, your guys' school has new rules put upon it just because of stuff that happens over there.
We're getting roped into their stuff. Like, we're the table that they never show because we're just like the back corner table that's being loud and obnoxious and not kind of in with what everyone, you know what I mean? Kind of that type of play on it. But anyway, I wrote several episodes of this. And they're just sitting in notebooks. I write.
Nice.
I've got like 10 notebooks with great ideas that will never be followed through.
I have the same thing. I only have 9 though, so you have me beat. I've got 9 notebooks.
The lost notebook of great ideas.
Mine
I'm going to miss writing them out.
Mine, however, will come into fruition soon. All I have to do is get my cartoons off the ground because I've got 12 cartoon ideas that I believe will make great shows. And 9 movies and more movies in my head. I've just got 9 written and books. I've got 2 books written and I tried to.
You got them on Amazon or anything?
No, I didn't put them out because I'm not. Hey, man. I'm not confident with the writing skill that's.
You need it edited?
I want to I want to like edit it.
You can pay people to do that pretty cheap.
Just do it
fairly cheap.
Here's a word of advice that I've gotten from a publisher: is do it now, and then you can make the revised version. Edited like better.
That way you have your ideal.
I've been working on a book since like 2005 or something, and like it's not nice. Well, thank you.
Nice.
It's not
nice that you're working on one at all.
I mean, I probably, but like since I started it, and now I have I could have wrote 2 books like completely different because everything I do is completely more advanced and more different. Yeah, and so I'm just like I feel like I'm just wasting my time. Like I don't know.
You think the book will never end?
I don't know. It's like I'm writing.
I'll never be done. I'm always learning. Every day I learn something. How can I publish the book?
Right, but then you make a revised. Yeah. If I already have the first one, I can revise it.
That makes sense.
That isn't a bad idea at all. My plan is to my first book I wrote. I'm starting to write another book that is going to use that book as a background. But it's written in an angelic text. The original book I wrote, they find it, but it's written in an angelic text, and they're trying to decipher it through the book that I'm about to write. So that way I can release the first book, and then the book that they decipher is actually the book that I have written already. So then I'll release that, and everybody will be like, oh, I'd like to read that. They read the first one because, they'll be interested.
It's like writing Lord of the Rings and going back and writing The Hobbit. That's basically what he did. I'm almost positive.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe that is. I know at least that's the order that he came up with the stories.
Yeah, I think the guy who wrote Narnia and all that did the same thing. He wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, then went back like 20 years later and wrote The Nephew's Apprentice, which is kind of like the prequel or whatever.
He's got like 7 or 9 of those.
Yeah, we got
it on.
Yeah, turn it off.
Can we, yeah. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of background noise. No, I don't know. I just
got it.
Oh yeah,
better. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Rookie mistake. That should have been off. I should have unplugged that many moons ago.
Sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
All right, my bad. I didn't mean to disrupt the
Stop
flow.
the flow. Yeah, now here.
Sorry. I'm a dick.
Chirp, 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 chirp.
Now
but you did bring your guitar. Not right now. I don't think we're going to play. You got something in mind that you think you might play?
Yeah,
something funny? Casey said you had some funny shit, too.
I don't really. I've got one. I wouldn't say it's funny. I have some animated. I have one animated, but I haven't recorded it yet.
Yeah.
And that one, I guess, is a funny topic, but...
Well, here in a little bit, whatever you're feeling.
Yeah.
Just play whatever you're feeling, man.
I'm not much of a comedy writer.
Yeah. Not an Adam Sandler?
Yeah, I'm not an Adam Sandler. I'm more of a... I try to come up with original ideas and try to be as original as possible. If it comes off as funny, that's fine, but it's not necessarily my focus. I have other people to do that for me.
What do you think about that Harry Potter spoof? Wizards
I
are
think
still
it's
kind
great.
of big right now.
I think it's great. I think that she's getting ready to do another Harry Potter book.
I thought you said she was done.
Well, this one takes place with other people, but it's in the same universe.
Earlier?
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with it at all. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know if it will or not.
A totally new.
Yeah, it might be.
Who else? You know, the guy Orson Scott Card wrote Ender's Game and stuff like that.
I don't know anything about Ender's Game except for Futurama had a movie called Bender's Game.
Right. I've seen that too. Ender's Game. Do you like stuff about space?
Yeah, you
totally gotta read Ender's Game then, man. It's really good. Then he went from there and wrote like a series of like prequels and afters, and then writers started paying him to use the Ender's Game universe, and they now there's like 5 writers that write separate stories in the Ender universe. Really cool.
Nice. That's actually something really close to what I would like to accomplish with Stupidity Man, because I have a lot of really detailed things in that, and I feel like there's a lot that can exist in that universe that doesn't just have to take place in Stupidity Man.
Well, Marvel, man, people give a writer the license to write something in your universe, and then
that's my goal, is to mix Family Guy and Simpsons with Marvel.
Would you do all that under Hill Jack?
Actually, probably that would be under 40 Blocks, which is a company that me and my brother, the November Twins, are going to
That definitely makes sense. Honestly, that I feel like it's not 100% different, but I feel like that's a totally different realm than what you guys are going for with the Hill Jack films.
Yeah. This will be 40 Blocks, which the reason why my brother and I came up with that name is because each comic that we have written of Stupidity Man thus far has been 40 blocks long.
On purpose or
just because it's just, it was coincidence. It was totally coincidence.
Wow, that's funny.
It was because we would take a sheet of paper and we would just make 20 even squares on the front and 20 even squares on the back. And
I just got to know the significance of the November Twins. Is that date of birth? Or?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We actually, my brother started calling himself Freddie November for a stage name. And, I like the way it sounded. Yeah, he made a lot of money.
Male strip club.
Yeah, people would throw quarters at him and stuff like that. And he was like, I must be doing good.
One off the top. Don't try to take 2.
And so basically, I thought it sounded good. And I was like, well, we might as well call ourselves the November Twins.
I think it's a good, catchy name, honestly. It sticks in my head, November Twins. Like, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Heck yeah, that's what we're trying to go for. Sorry, I meant hell yeah.
Yeah, that's the good thing about you don't have to be censored, even though I try not to drop too many F-bombs just because I'm a classy guy.
Yeah, but I can say fuck as much
as you want.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Every other word out of this guy's mouth some nights whenever I really mess up.
But we have a lot of detail with the Stupidity Man universe, and we try to be as original with superheroes as we can possibly get, at the same time keeping it light and funny. But in the cartoon idea is that Stupidity Man is supposed to be funny, and the people around him, because they can tolerate even being around him, they're kind of little maybe imbecilic and funny. But there's serious superheroes that exist in that world too, and are to be taken serious. And
it's like Howard the Duck in Marvel.
Yep, exactly. And we plan on making at least comics based on the other superheroes that exist in that world.
Have you already got people throwing ideas at you, or?
Well, we have so many ideas on our own right now that
you're not even looking.
Yeah, not yet. I want to basically get a fan base, and then I'll wait for people to, if they have a good enough idea, then I'll say, yeah, that sounds good, make that. But until then, I've got well over 200 characters that I plan on at least making one comic for, and if not,
that
a series.
is ridiculous, dude.
I mean, we've had it since 6th grade, and I'm 32, so
yeah,
and I've never stopped thinking about it. But
Age of Ultron's coming out this week for sure. Not to just jump around, but since we're on comic books, we might as well.
Yep.
And you said you like talking about comic books. I know Kit's probably is not a comic. Aaron, you dig any of the comic book movies?
I like comics, man.
Age of Ultron. Are you into the Marvel or DC? What's your stink?
I'm more.
Aaron, talking to your fucking mic.
I'm more of
a Batman kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about Batman that always
I'm just messing with you, man.
that I always kind of liked is just, I mean, he doesn't have any special powers, but being super rich kind of in itself
That's a
Yeah,
superpower.
is
super
a special
resources.
power.
That is
Yeah.
that's a
Super
superpower
resource.
in the real world.
Plus, he has super luck. He's got super luck.
I liked a movie called Blank Man.
Yes, with
Blank
Damon
Man's
Wayans.
Damon Wayans.
I like
that. Was my shit.
Daredevil's cool.
Daredevil.
I
on
liked
Netflix.
Damon Wayans in Handicap Man when
Handyman
he was
in Living Color.
Was it just
yeah.
Handyman?
Handyman.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked both of those.
That was good. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even. I
In Living
totally,
Color, man.
I know. I
can
totally.
be
Jennifer
what you
Lopez
wanna be.
just dancing.
In Living Color.
I didn't like the way she looked in that. Her hair was all weird.
It was
She looked
crazy.
all weird.
Yeah.
Like she didn't.
It was
wasn't
the
like
early
that.
'90s though. Everyone
Yeah.
was. Oh, everyone's hair was like.
Yeah,
It was the
they-
phase after the 80s.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just coming down from the '80s, and they still.
We're not
like, what do
80s.
we do?
We're not
What
80s.
do we
We're
do?
90s. We're doing this.
Zebra spandex everywhere.
Crimp your hair. Crimp it.
Hey, I remember the.
I got 3 older sisters. They did all of that shit. It's funny. I love looking at the old pictures, man. So I like Blank Man. He kind of reminds me, like I always thought his sidekick should be. Man, I just lost his name from the Goonies. The guy who makes all the inventions.
Data.
Data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Booty traps. That's what I said.
Booty traps.
I think he should be like. I always felt like he should be his sidekick because they do the same shit, make inventions out of stuff they have around the
They
house.
should follow up on the Goonies. Make a Goonies 2 with them all being adults. Like
Ooh.
one of them being like a serial killer, and the other one's like being like finding out, like and maybe just some crazy shit.
I think it's too late.
What about
I don't
Sloth?
want him.
It's
I
never too
don't
late.
want him to mess up the Goonies for me. And I feel like if anyone done anything with the Goonies now, they would just
see
mess
what
it
you're
up,
saying.
man.
I see what you're saying.
But you're right. I think that before they should have made
Sloth
him.
went to live with Chunk.
Yeah, and then Chunk him, they would be man. They would probably have a terrible life, really.
Chunk's not even chunky
It could
anymore.
start at Sloth's
Yeah,
funeral.
Nice.
That's where we'll start it because you know he wasn't living that long. He was already
Yeah.
probably pretty old. He was much older
No.
than Chunk.
Mom?
You know,
Baby,
one old movie they should make a sequel of is Home Alone. They could have him where he's homeless alone, setting up booby traps in the
Have you guys
alley and shit.
have you guys seen the Home Alone Joker Jared Leto picture yet?
No.
What was this
Is that
new-
where he's got
it's his
tats all
is it-
over him and stuff?
Yeah, it's the new
Suicide
Joker.
Squad.
Suicide Squad, and
Roosevelt was just talking about that earlier.
yeah, and it's Jared Leto as Joker, and then they put that in his. He has his hands behind his head, like he's trying to breathe after a run or something, but he's like screaming like the Joker games. You
Yeah.
know? And it just has that in front of a Home Alone
Logo.
movie like
Yeah.
poster. So it was looked
Nice.
pretty cool.
I haven't seen any previews or anything as far as that, just what I've read about it. It seems like it's a good idea, but even good ideas can be messed up as soon as they...
Well, the Suicide Squad, I believe, is a comic series already.
Yeah,
and it's definitely a sweet idea.
Depends on how they do it.
Harley Quinn
Now this
and
is
Yep.
Dark Knight though, right? The one with Ben Affleck and Jared
It's
Leto.
not... They're not in that, I don't think.
Wait,
I
Joker's
don't believe-
a whole movie by itself.
Well, no, the Suicide
Suicide
Squad.
Squad, yeah.
One of the main characters is Harley Quinn. I believe Will Smith isn't going to be in that also, but Harley Quinn is Joker's sidekick, and she is basically almost forced by some government faction to do. I don't want to say good, but basically carry out some of their orders. So
Yeah.
the Suicide Squad is almost a government agency that's made up of villains being forced to do their bidding.
Yeah.
So that's why Joker is going to be involved because Harley
Okay.
Quinn is, but Batman isn't necessarily going to be.
I
He
thought
may
it was-
be. I don't
thought
know.
he's in a new Batman. That's what I thought it was all
No,
about.
yeah. It seems as if that would be, but I don't know if they're going to have Joker in that because I think they're focusing on Batman fighting Superman in that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I believe you are
Definitely.
correct on that one.
My bad.
That concept that you just talked about almost sounds like what happens in Civil War on Marvel.
Yes,
where
it is. It's almost identical.
Thunderbolts basically are bad guys with microchips that will blow their heads off if they
Yeah.
step out of line.
I think
and shut them down.
Yeah, I think that DC wasn't quite as clever as Marvel with it either.
Yeah.
But it is virtually the same thing, at least from what I see it as.
Marvel Studios is really doing a good job of getting their titles back when they can.
Yeah.
And incorporating them. That was the one thing I hated about comic book movies is You never see anyone else. I get it, but they're out there. You could at least show them on TV doing something somewhere.
Well, in the first X-Men movie, they do that with Hank McCoy, Beast. He's in the background since Beast wasn't technically in the first movie at all. He's in the background being interviewed in a scene. So they tried, and then they mentioned Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man, and I think it's the second one. Whenever Mystique is looking through some files and something, it shows his name. It shows a couple of them. I think it shows Gambit's name.
They have to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, that only makes sense in the Marvel universe. You know what I mean? You're going to see other superheroes. It doesn't make sense not to. I mean,
especially if mutants are that prevalent.
Exactly, they're everywhere. People know about them at this point. You know.
That's why I always thought it was stupid that Punisher and Spider-Man existed in the world of the X-Men, because in the Spider-Man's series, mutants don't really play a role until it's X-Men, and then all of a sudden Spider-Man's there. It's like, why is everybody in Spider-Man's villains getting superpowers from radiation and things like that? But in the X-Men, everybody just has the superpower. They need
born with it.
If they're going to blend it, they should be consistent.
That's true. The Juggernaut, though, I don't know how they played him in the movies, but he's supposedly got his through like a science experiment, and then
he's Xavier's brother.
He has the magic helmet to keep
Xavier out of his head.
Yeah, not magic helmet. He's got the Magneto style helmet or whatever it is.
But in the movies, they didn't make him his brother. They didn't make Xavier his brother. But I feel like the newest X-Men movie was, for me, way closer to the original cartoon, which is what originally got me into X-Men. And I felt like watching the last movie, it was my favorite X-Men movie, and it felt like I was
Days
a kid
of Future
again watching.
Past?
Yeah,
they did a good job on
that. Oh
that.
yeah,
Right.
and they there's this thing that I kind of believe in called the thought stream, and it basically
I'm gonna write this down.
says
Hold
that
on.
everything is connected. There are no coincidences. It's coincidence because that's what was thick in the thought stream at the time. It's really hard to explain, but basically, when I watched that movie, there was a lot of things that I felt like they came up with in that movie. Like there's the chick that they gave her a different ability than she had in the comics, I believe. I don't really remember who she was, but she could create portals. And we had just come up with a character for Stupidity Man probably about a year ago, probably around the same time they were starting making that movie. And he did the exact same ability. He made portals because we're huge Looney Tune fans. And in Looney Tunes, sometimes crazy shit can happen. A little hole can pop out of nowhere and someone can hop out of it.
Yeah.
And we thought that would be a great superpower. So we came up with a character named Dark Future that can create portals that don't go through time. They're just portals that he can pop here and pop there. And he loves throwing grenades to him and just popping the other one anywhere. So he's a villain. And we watched that, and I was like, "Oh, that's the exact same character."
Stole our idea, man.
But it's like, obviously they didn't steal it. I felt like, oh, I was robbed of that, but obviously they didn't know I came up with that character too. So it's just a coincidence.
What's Roosevelt doing?
I feel like in my whole life, like the Tick came out the year after we made Stupidity Man. We started making Stupidity Man. Virtually the same idea at the time. A superhero that's stupid and in a town full of other superheroes that are trying. So we evolved it since then, so it's nothing like the Tick. But then the way we took it became the Venture Brothers, and the Venture Brothers came out and it was like, well, this is a lot like that now. So we continued to evolve it to try to keep it more original. But it seems like as soon as we have an idea, in the media, that idea just came out. Like, it didn't come out 20 years ago. It didn't come out 5 years ago. It came out the exact same time that I came up with it. And so, it teaches me you got to be careful because a lot of people are going to think that
you're copying.
Yeah, copying. Like, for example, South Park and the movie The Ringer. South Park made an episode that came out right around the same time The Ringer came out, but neither had knowledge of each other. But in the episode of South Park, Cartman does the exact same thing that happens in the movie The Ringer. And in the commentary for that episode, they talk about it, and they say it's just coincidence. Neither of them had any idea.
It's a funny concept. Probably other people have thought of it even before them. A guy who's not mentally disabled competing in a mentally disabled as a mentally disabled athlete, and finds out that it's not easy.
Yeah.
Like, people actually train for it and do well in it.
Yep.
I thought The Ringer was a good movie too.
But it's just like music.
What is?
Everything's in repetition.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just different masks.
Just an interesting comic book link to the fair city of Chillicothe, Ohio's first capital. I don't know, have you seen this on Facebook? It's been going around a couple times. He does an interview and he talks about Chillicothe, Ohio.
Who? Stan Lee?
Stan Lee. He
had a flat tire.
He had a flat tire. and it was during the war, so rubber and tires.
Chillicothe had all the tires in the world.
I don't know about the world, but he met a young lady whose dad was the guy who you would get your ticket from to go, your ration ticket, so you could go get a tire.
Oh, okay.
And he got it. He got a spare tire in Chillicothe when it was really.
He met that girl.
Yeah, it was really hard to find a spare tire, and he just happened to be in Chillicothe and met a girl. And
actually, with Stan Lee, I have another example of the thought stream. With Stupidity Man, one of his superpowers is super luck. And because I noticed, while reading comics, I noticed that that's an unmentioned superpower that almost all the good guys have.
Yeah.
They, no matter what they try, it's going to be successful because they're the good guy. So they have super luck. So Stan Lee, I came up with that for Stupidity Man, and a few months after, I saw an interview with Stan Lee where he mentioned that his favorite superpower is luck, and that it also goes unmentioned. And so I thought, that's perfect. Stan Lee thinks that because we even named Stupidity Man is named Sam Lee. To try to pay homage to Stan Lee, but we didn't want to totally steal the name Stan.
Yeah.
But I have two thoughts on what you've just said. One, I think the Scarlet Witch does probabilities, right? She changes probabilities in her favor.
Yeah, I believe
so. That's kind of like controlling luck almost.
Yeah, yeah.
But since you're a cartoon fan, DuckTales, has anyone ever watched
I love
DuckTales?
DuckTales.
Not Fenton, not the guy who plays Gizmo Duck, but there is a
Gizmo Duck is the shit.
Yeah, Fenton, whatever.
Probably Quack.
But there's also a character who he's super lucky. And he doesn't have a job. He just, he goes into a restaurant and he wins a
I remember the guy that was unlucky. The guy that had like the green plaid suit and he was like super unlucky, but I don't remember the lucky guy.
There is a lucky guy who turns unlucky for one day or something like that, and he has an awful day in the episode, but then at the end he's lucky. But he walks into the restaurant and they're like, "Oh, you're the 1000th customer. You get to eat free and take whatever you want home with you." And then he's like walking down the street and he's like, "Oh, $20 now. I was going in here to buy a newspaper and now I got $20 to buy whatever and keep the change." Like everywhere he goes.
On DuckTales?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It was a very funny episode. I remember it quite well.
DuckTales was one of my favorite cartoons when I was young, but also Darkwing Duck, which is another huge inspiration for me for Stupidity Man.
So you watched Darkwing Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a great cartoon.
I watched it too. Yeah.
It was like Batman, a Duck Batman.
I used to watch DuckTales a lot, but I was always thinking, a lot of the time I was thinking, man, what are the Beagle Boys doing? You know what I mean? Like, anytime I didn't see them in an episode, I'm like, man, I wonder what they're doing today.
Yeah.
They're probably like hanging out in some old torn down house, and there's 30 of them drinking Triple X jug. Who knows what's in it, but it's Triple X. Yeah. Probably stealing from somebody. Anyway, yeah, that's what I always think. Man, what are the Bugle Boys doing, man? They're probably doing something much cooler.
I think I actually always thought, what was Gizmo Duck doing? Because he was badass, man.
Fenton McSomething. Fenton Glumgold. No, Glumgold was the second richest duck in Duckburg. Anyway, that little nostalgic trip down memory lane.
One thing that I was wanting to talk about is you were talking about being vegetarian earlier.
Yes,
I'd like to talk a little bit about that.
Oh, I do have a question about that also.
Are you vegan or vegetarian?
Well, I would like to become vegan, but it's so expensive. One of my future goals, way in the future goals, is to create a food store or food company that makes cheap and easy, affordable vegan food. Because I feel like I go shopping and try to find vegan food, but it's expensive. And
Can you help me real quick with either of you that could answer it? What is the difference between a vegetarian and a vegan? I'm just
so a vegetarian, they don't eat meat, but they don't play a lot of importance other than not eating meat. A vegan, they don't eat or use anything that came from a cow. Or from a cow, from an animal of any kind. Yeah. I don't know why.
No milk.
No milk, no honey from bees,
no eggs,
no leather on their shoes,
no honey from bees,
no leather on their shoes, nothing that used an animal.
I wanted you to
No
try
products that used an animal.
I got some fresh honey from my Uncle Bob's house today, straight off the honeycomb.
Oh, yeah?
I wanted you to try some of it.
Is that in Ohio? They say if you eat honey from like local honey, it helps
the pollen.
Yeah, we always try to buy local
I want you
honey.
to try some of it, man. It's really good.
Yeah, and it's 100% real.
Yeah. Bees,
but anyhow,
out of their buttholes. I'm not sure exactly how. I don't think that's how.
I think they spit it out.
Yeah,
actually,
they regurgitate it. Bee puke is delicious.
You said 15 years.
Yes, I've been a vegetarian for 15 years, and I've been wanting to be a vegan the entire time, but it's just too expensive.
Do you eat fish?
No, I don't.
A lot of vegetarians do. There's a classification of that.
I don't remember the name of it, but I'm a lactovarian vegetarian, so I don't remember what ones eat fish. But you're right, there is a name for them. Lactovarian, I still use milk products, and cheese, and I still eat eggs. But I try to buy vegetarian-fed farm fresh hens. But that doesn't always mean, they can say whatever they want on the package.
Until you got your own my mom has 9 chickens. I love
I want to get my own.
Why did you turn vegan?
Vegetarian.
When I first decided to do it, it was probably just to be different because I didn't know anybody else that was. But that was when I was 17. Really, I had eaten nothing but chicken all day long from beginning to end. And I got sick for 2 weeks and didn't eat meat, and I
had no alkaline.
Yeah, and I had been thinking for a long time because I remember I was like 8 years old when I first thought about it, and I wasn't able to. And through my teenage years, every time I said, "Okay, today's the day I'm going to be vegetarian," my mom would be like, "Well, let's go to a steakhouse then." I'm like, "Oh, that's fucked up."
Yeah, but how can you not? Like the first day, Mom? Yeah. Come on. So, I'm not getting salad today.
So finally, I was able to resist it after puking on some chicken, and I became a vegetarian probably just to be different. But then I started feeling like animals deserve to live a lot more than I do, a lot more than a lot of people that I see on TV. And why am I so much more important than that animal to be able to just eat it whenever I feel like I should eat it? And if people mention pig, then someone's going to make a joke about bacon or something like that because it's a food. But if you say something about a human, no one's going to make a joke about eating them. It's not cannibal.
It depends on what crowd you're rolling with.
Yeah. But the vast majority will say something about bacon. And then if I say something about, well, that might be kind of messed up that you automatically thought about eating it, even though that's not necessarily the topic, they're not going to see why because they just see it as food. They don't even see it as live. Like I know someone who asked me what the difference between fish and rocks were. And they honestly didn't know. And they thought, and whenever I said something about plants to them, they honestly thought a fish was a plant. And granted, that might be stupider than a normal person, but there's people out there. It's like they don't realize if the animal can't talk to you, then we don't see it as on an equal level.
Yeah, they don't deal with. They just are consuming it. They're not dealing with like raising it or harvesting it.
And even when they do like 4-H clubs, they'll raise their pig all summer or however long they have it, and then they'll end up either killing it or selling it.
I have a question. Yeah, just because you're talking about killing animals, I guess it's kind of
spit it out.
I guess it's kind of like a statement.
Let's state it.
Would you rather have an animal on your plate that died of natural causes, or would you rather have an animal on your plate that was healthy when it was killed?
If I had to eat an animal and it was under circumstances like that, it'd be hard for me to say what I would prefer. But I would think that if you kill the animal and use everything from it, then for lack of a better word, sin. There's less sin in that than there is for just killing it just to kill it.
Yeah.
But if it died of natural causes, to me, I don't know, because the way I feel is it's disrespectful to eat something. I wouldn't want something to eat me or my baby. And it's disrespectful. So I mean, it's like,
but you eat eggs.
I do eat eggs, but they're not fertilized because the way the process goes, the rooster needs to come fertilize the egg.
Yeah.
And I do plan on quitting eating eggs at one point, but it's my main source of protein right now.
I was just
I think
I have a serious question because it's common in other countries. I don't know why it's not. Maybe just our culture makes it kind of taboo. And I was wanting to get your opinion on this. Bugs. How do you feel about bugs as a protein source? Because almost every other continent in the world eats bugs. And
I feel like we eat bugs. That's what natural flavors on candy bars and everything. Red flavor, red 40. We eat bugs in everything. They just don't tell you what it is because they don't want everybody to know it's a beetle shell. Jelly beans. Jelly beans use beetle shells to get that shell. They grind them down.
How do you feel about
eating
hair?
A couple other things. I mean, if it's optional, I'm dig in, man. Put some spaghetti sauce on that.
A little bit of everything.
It's in bread.
There's a certain amount of hair and fecal matter that's
in
okay.
everything made in a factory, yeah. But
they put it in for a filler.
As far as bugs,
do you feel that bugs are on the same level?
Yeah,
as
I feel like
animals?
it's just a gamble. We just got lucky being humans. We could have been a fly, and it's all such a gamble that I respect the fact that they could have been a human also. And just because they got chosen to be a fly or a spider doesn't make them any less important in the role of life.
That's kind of like a Buddhist stance almost.
Yeah, it is.
Buddhist
Bees,
philosophy.
if there's another planet out in the solar system that has life just like ours, guaranteed to have a bug that's just like bees on it because they pollinated almost the entire Earth.
It wouldn't be just like it. They'd be
similar.
Different.
they would fly and they would
If it, well, pollen on I get what you're saying. If it was set up the way Earth is, then yeah.
And what I'm leaning toward is bees are more important than us.
Well,
all we do is destroy the Earth.
Actually, it could have been, on that planet, it could be humans that just touch things all day and just go.
I have a theory.
There's
in our hands.
There's plants that actually do that. I saw this episode.
Eat an apple and then you see how it gets pollinated, like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want this apple anymore. What the hell?
It's a ball sack apple.
I was watching a show. Had these plants that were doing that. They would. They had this smell, like a sweet
like
smell,
meat.
And no, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, and it traps the fly inside for a couple of days. It gets covered with pollen.
It pollinates it, and then it lets them go. Or it will eat them if it's hungry, for nitrogen. It'll just keep them until they die
until it decomposes and distributes.
But it this time it put the pollen on them. It came out of these little things and dropped it on them. Then it let them out, and they spread the pollen.
Nice.
So the plant was the intelligent life in that situation.
I believe that bugs are underutilized in this country, and as far as a natural. I mean, because people are going to eat meat or whatever, and I think it's a better feed for them than corn. I think it's better to have a bugs mixed in the food, not just corn. You can't just keep feeding everything corn, man. That's what we do in this country.
Yeah. Cows,
chickens, pigs, everything eats corn. GMO corn.
Well, a lot of times they eat corn and ground up
other pigs. Yeah. That's why mad cow disease was so rampant in England. They were killing cows with the disease, grinding it up, and then feeding it to cows.
Yeah.
What'd you think was going to happen? Yeah. I mean, it don't take a genius to figure this out.
Well, I mean, I think that's the area that brought you the bubonic plague, so you can't expect too much from them.
Yeah, that's true. But you can't do that. That's
what about plant life? Do you think plant life has intelligence?
I think that it's less likely.
Or it's consciousness, or
here's how I feel about it. I can't say whether or not I think they're conscious. I wouldn't say so because they don't have a nervous system the way we do. But either way, I do think that we use the word life so frivolously. They don't have the same kind of life that we have. Just like the love between a man and a woman is not the same as a love between a man and his child. It should have a different word. The life should have a different word. We think we get up and move and we build and even other animals build. Spiders build webs and they know how to count and chimpanzees and dogs and all that. But plants, they don't do that. They don't function the same way. So it should be a totally different word.
Why do you think they don't function the same way?
Because you can watch them and see that they don't.
What if they just function at a different rate?
They do function at a different rate. You can speed them up and see like a vine growing up something. It looks like it's climbing, and they exist in time differently, and they don't perceive time the same way we do. But at the same time, they only go for what their instincts say they need, rather than anything else. They don't show territory.
Actually, they do.
I think they're
very considerate of like sister plants. They're very considerate of one another. They have studies that prove
of the same plant. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe
and that's how they communicate. Like if one of them needs more nutrients, like they
support each other.
They are definitely very, very, very talkative amongst one another within a forestry.
Okay, we could get into this debate. Okay.
One thing that people always ask me about being a vegetarian is the comparison between animals and plants, and I say I don't see the comparison because I feel like it's different. But they never ever even think, which in my opinion proves that plants are a lot different than animals. They never even think of saying, what about cellular life? That's a totally different style of life also that exists differently. Yeah, like
Osmosis Jones.
Yeah, exactly, like Chris Rock. Totally different life. But cells work differently, just like plants work differently, just like animals work differently.
I think plant life is based more on, besides their own will, the environment that they're in. If the sun's coming up more over here, the plant's going to go that way, not because it wants to, because that's where the sun's at.
Yep.
Their lives are, if you can call them lives, but throughout their life, they are more environmentally predisposed to do one thing or another. If there's not a lot of water, they can't grow very fast. If there's a lot of water, they're going to grow faster.
And see, that's the same with your hair or your fingernails, and that's what I feel. Plants, I feel like the earth is alive, and plants are just kind of the hair and fingernails of the earth.
The cilia.
So that's like trying to say our fingernails are alive. Yeah, our fingernail grows, but it's not alive. I mean, it might even, it's going to change its consistency depending on what you take in. Yeah, it's got little white dots depending on what you've, eaten or whatever.
If you're a liar.
Yeah, if you lie.
That's what my wife
that's the
tells
same
me.
as plants.
It's like, let me see your hand. You're a liar.
And that's the same as plants, in my opinion. They just grow out of the earth, which is actually a bigger living thing. And so I could compare our life to the earth, but I necessarily can't really see the comparison in plants.
So you don't think we could, humans can eat the sun?
He has a theory about, have you ever seen the Sun Eaters?
No, I don't know what that is.
You can YouTube it.
Like you would stand...
Thanks for giving me permission for that.
Yeah. You can use my YouTube.
You can stand barefooted like 30 minutes after sunrise or 30 minutes before sundown.
When the sun's the weakest.
And you take in the energy. You're barefoot to the earth. And
I could see that working.
And
Hold on,
don't
what
need
is
to
this?
eat.
I can't see it
Dude,
working at all. I make fun of it all
they
the time.
have scientifically proven.
Your eyes.
They have scientifically
what are
proven
you
that your
saying?
eyes shoot a laser out that causes things cells to react differently. They know when they're being observed, and it's because of your eyes having that laser. So as far as
Yeah,
that,
they call it
it's on
they call it a survival instinct in humans.
So it's a laser. We know lasers are connected to our eyes in some way. So the sun, the energy could travel right through that and then go, if your feet are barefoot. There's no dead animal separating you from the earth.
I think that if you eat the sun, you will die very soon, probably within 3 weeks to a month.
Oh, you talking about with a fork and knife?
No, I think if you try to eat the sun for 20 minutes before sunset and 20 minutes before
You drink water.
you will be dead.
You can drink water.
That's why I said you'll be dead in a
Why
month.
would you say you'd be dead?
Because you cannot live without sustenance in your body.
Are you not eating anything else?
Yeah, no, they're just eating. Supposedly, just eat.
Oh, I didn't catch
that's
that
your
part.
energy.
I'll give it a shot, and I'll tell you what happens.
You're going to be real hungry after a week. The second week won't be so bad. The third week, you're going to be very weak. You won't be able to stand, and you'll be dead by the fourth
That
week.
theory made me think as to why humans haven't evolved to be to photosynthesize like plants do with the sun.
I think we will, but not from evolution. It'll be from DNA resequencing. We'll be able to have chloroform in our skins and make the sugar. I mean, I don't think you will be able to make protein, but you'll be able to make simple sugars, and that can keep you alive for quite some time. You could store it and then get it at a boost,
like
energy,
and then you would have to.
It would almost be like adrenaline.
Superhero stuff, sort of.
Yeah, what a great character.
Made the loop.
Made the loop. Made the loop. Bring it back around.
I'll drink that too.
Nice.
But I love hearing all these theories because I just think you never really know 100%, right?
No, exactly. That's
I'm
what
willing to listen to.
That is what is 100%. That you don't know what's 100%.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's why I hate when people call to science to say that, oh, look, this is how everything is a theory. Even gravity is a theory.
Science can only
it's kind of a law, but it's still...
it can't prove anything. It can only
disprove. Yes, and you can have educated guesses of what you think is the possible. What is possible.
Yep.
And another thing that I think people get mixed up a lot with, I think Jeremy's probably one of them, the alternate universe theories. If the theory is that there is possibly alternate universes following alternate timelines, not that they actually exist, that they are hypothetical, that they could have existed. They're not there traveling with us along the same timeline, just out of phase. They are things that could have possibly happened but did not happen. They're theoretical universes. That's how I feel about it. A lot of people would argue with me on that.
I think that alternate timelines definitely exist, and that we constantly jump through them without realizing. And like, say you remember something,
Interstellar,
and well, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but
a new movie where they deal with.
Check it out for real.
You should check it out. It is a. You need to pay attention and watch it though, because they're going to spit some big words at you.
It's pretty accurate.
And it's very, very. They prided themselves on the science of the movie, and that's what they check it out.
It challenges new ideas.
Exactly. They deal with the four dimension of it, like
real.
Using space as the dimension and also time as a dimension.
Yeah.
Though they still blew stuff up in outer space.
It was still, if you just like space movies, it's still a cool ass space movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
Well, if there's oxygen tanks, you can still blow things up.
You wouldn't see it once it touches space.
Not if there's an oxygen tank, because there is.
I'm an astronaut.
Now it sounds like our studio's in the ghetto.
Well, it kind of is.
We are.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm an astronaut.
Am I the only one that was freezing?
Yeah.
All right.
Are you cold? Do you want me to?
No, I'm good. If everybody else is good, I'm good.
I run a little warm. I can't help it.
Yeah.
You guys are good. I got a jacket.
Can we just talk about space? Is it alright if we just talk about space for a little bit?
Man.
Okay. I love the idea of space. I hate that we're not there regularly yet, but I think the easiest way we can make a spaceship to travel to a different galaxy, I guess would be the word, would be just to make a planet-sized spaceship and just generationally breed people until we get there.
Well,
they have to do that. I saw something that they were gonna. That's how they would do it. They'd make this huge ship.
Yeah.
Like that would just.
I think that rather than trying to come up with a ship that's going to travel that far, we should instead build a space station that's a little further out. Space station. Just keep doing that. I mean, because if we leave a trail of space stations, then we can have we can go back and forth. Well, but if we just send one out there nonchalantly, it's going to be a lot of material to build a planet-sized spaceship too. So I would say
take an asteroid, hollow it out. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's going to take you.
It's not a planet-sized spaceship. It's like 1,000 people or something.
The moon is a satellite of Earth.
Cheese. It's for the aliens.
Who knows what's on the dark side?
I think the moon is more important than they think. If they start mining the moon, it's going to fuck up.
Hollow it out and mess up the gravity.
Yeah, it's going to fuck up everything.
It's going to destroy us. I don't think we can take enough out of it to.
They plan on building like little space stations on the moon. I think that's dangerous. They're going to end up going. They're going to end up going overboard, fucking up the rotation of the moon, fucking up our oceans, fucking up storms.
By that time,
it's incredibly big. You would have to add an incredible mass to it or take away an incredible mass. I just don't think we could do that damage as humans right now with the technology we have.
Well,
besides from just straight up blowing it up to crack it in the middle and then separating it, something like that.
Yeah.
But if we're just mining it and taking out ore, which there's really not even, you'd rather mine asteroids anyway because that's where all the ore is at. There's not as much on the moon. And plus you can move an asteroid exactly where you want it, you know what I mean, and then work on it from there.
So you know about the Mars One program?
One way.
They're trying to
volunteers.
Go to Mars.
Yeah. I think that's honestly, that's very admirable.
I love it. I'm staying with it and trying to, stay.
As far as I know, the list of people who volunteer, like they have several thousand volunteers more than what they need. Like
I think they've cut it down to like under 1,000.
Yeah.
Now
they
just were
to go to Mars.
Yeah, one-way trip, man. Set up infrastructure.
What I couldn't believe were the people with families
that would
and
go.
Stuff doing it. Yeah, leaving their families.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a tough call. I would hate to leave.
It's like I'm dying.
Behind. Yeah.
I mean, pretty much that's it. Like
you would be able to communicate.
I mean, the chances of the first mission being successful are pretty slim. So they're pretty much.
It's almost
they know they're dying before they get there.
It's not like Roanoke.
And I mean, I hope they don't. But the chances are especially since I don't even believe they landed on the moon, and they're going off of the idea that they landed on the moon.
It'd be like Don Cheadle's the only one left, crazy, surviving off the plants he's growing in his. You guys know what I'm talking about? Red Planet. Anybody? No?
Oh, is Don Cheadle in that?
Yeah, he's the guy who's left there, and he's like,
I just remember Val Kilmer.
Crazy.
Yeah. Isn't Val Kilmer in that?
Yeah, I think so.
I just remember him being in it right now. And their robot was it named Amy? What was their robot name?
Something like that, and then it goes crazy.
Yeah.
So you don't think they landed on the moon, huh?
No, I don't believe that.
You think we're in space? Do you think there's like an international space station and we're up there in space?
As far as I go, I think that the moon's been the only real lie about that. So I guess I would say yeah.
Because you can look at the International Space Station.
Yeah, I don't think that they can't go to I don't think that they can't go to space or anything like that. I think that they ended the Cold War with a moon landing that wasn't real because they couldn't achieve it. And
so, how about since the one that they propagated? Do you think we've been there, or you think we've never had one trip?
I think that humans never stop. We go hard and we go.
Yeah.
As soon as we achieve something, we get
quit.
better at
Yeah,
it. Why would we stop going to the moon? We went to the moon.
Money.
We went
It
to the
wasn't
moon.
that we stopped.
It was money, dude.
We went to the moon like five times or so in the 60s and 70s, and then quit. And then we can't now in the 2000s. Come on now.
No, we
2010.
can.
We can. We don't have this. No one's behind it. We had our whole nation behind it.
What do we
back
need
then.
there, though?
Exactly. That comes into play. It's just pure science is the only reason that we're going to go there, to do experiments, to set up a base.
I think that the Mars
It's a
One. I
slingshot
think that
to
how
Mars.
successful the Mars One program is being, it disproves that. There's so many people that would throw in their own money.
Now, Mars is different, though.
Yeah, we haven't been there that much. It's not as feasible.
But there are flags on the moon that if you have a powerful enough telescope, you can see from Earth. You know what I mean? You can't fake that.
No, I believe that you probably could. They could have landed that flag there without.
That's what I was
a
about to
person.
say. So they would have to get the flag there at some point.
There are too many variables that just seem to me to point that it was
To a
faked.
fake, huh?
And I believe that Area 51 is where they faked it, and that's why they.
So hush hush.
That's why they are like, yeah, but go ahead and believe in aliens. Believe the aliens are there because that's smart.
You don't believe in aliens?
I wouldn't say that I don't believe in aliens. I don't think it's likely that they exist the way people think they do.
I do
think
believe
that I think that the media has implanted this idea of aliens, and everybody just believes that because that's what they see all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, more likely there's a planet like us that have people possibly as evolved as us, but more than likely not. And there's several planets that have animals, dolphins, whatever kind of animal might be on there, but that doesn't mean they have microphones and any type of electricity or anything like that.
I talked to someone who believed that like we're a mistake, like we weren't supposed to evolve like this. Something happened.
I talked to someone.
It was
else.
supposed to be just
That's
wild
the basis-
animals.
That's the basis of like Cain and Abel.
Well, since you bring up the Bible, I know somebody who has a theory that God creates
Not
universes for I don't want to say an experiment, but he keeps resetting them and creating them to make the perfect being, and he doesn't really control what
That's
happens.
the Anunnaki.
Are you sure? I don't think that's what I was talking about.
There's a story in the ancient Sumerian. It's the Garden of Eden story, Adam and Eve. But it's not
I
quite
can't
like the
remember all
Bible
the theory,
says
but
now.
it was very interesting that they would see it like that, because it does fall into the Big Bang theory, which they're almost kind of disproving now. That it was everyone thought that's how it was for so long, and now they're kind of saying, kind of.
Well, how can you believe something like that?
Exactly.
I think that rather than a Big Bang, it was like a big discord.
Yeah.
Believing in the Big Bang theory.
Everything
is like
that
believing
could
in
have
the Earth
exist,
being
like
flat.
all the atoms that started, were all evenly placed out. In some form, maybe not in a form we could even imagine, but every molecule was evenly placed out until one of them either didn't exist or one of them was slightly moved, causing some sort of disruption that just was a catalyst for everything else moving around. I think that, but it's really hard to even think about the beginning of time. You'd almost have
It's
to
way
think
above
that-
us.
What would be before that?
Yeah,
It's
like,
above my pay grade.
It's not
It's like
above
the
anybody's
very
pay grade
first.
right now.
Did you guys ever play Mario 2?
Yeah.
When you're falling from that door and you can
Yeah.
go from one side and come out the other?
Yeah.
I almost feel like that is what time is. You go in one and come out the other. There is no beginning, there's no end. It doesn't loop. It's unfathomably the exact same. You just go this way and it comes out that way. It's like there's a big bend. Time just bends, and the universe just bends. Everything's a sphere that you
I've
can't
heard
see.
somebody describe it like that before. It's got an infinite radius, but it's still curving. So
Yeah.
you will never reach the end of it, but you'll always be circling.
Yeah.
Hello. That's the weirdest thing you could ever think of in the
No,
world.
it's not. It's the planet Earth, really.
What? What are you talking about?
It has a flat
You just
surface
threw
where
me
you can
off.
judge it.
I don't know what's going on now.
It has a flat surface where you can judge where you're going. With the universe, if you keep going straight, you're going to be going at least left or right, no matter how straight you ever go.
Exactly,
And
just like Earth.
it's probably why pi's infinite.
Yeah.
The number pi is infinite. You can't come to an end, just like the diameter of space. It's infinite.
You ever heard anything about quantum particles and how they are connected at a we don't even know how they're connected or why, but they've been freezing the twin particles
and moving one here and like
then,
San Francisco.
Yeah, they'll
and New
break
York.
it, and then this one instantly breaks. Or
beginning of teleportation. They're trying to study.
Or the speed of light travel.
Okay, yeah, let's get straight into it then. I've asked you this before. If you woke up in a different body with all your memories, is it still you?
Well, it depends.
If you woke up, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because that's your mind state.
It depends because
Interesting.
I mean, exactly. I mean, this is a shell.
Yeah.
You can buy. It's like you have a radio, and you can tune into a radio station. You're on that radio station. You break that, use a different radio. It's the same radio station, not the same shell. So that would be kind of the same thing. You'd be tuned in the same radio station. Your brain.
You ever had it?
Yay or nay? If you woke up in a different body with all your memories, is it still you?
You ever had a lucid dream?
A lucid dream, I think I almost have, because I run slow when I'll either be trying to do something and I can't get it done, or I'm trying to get away from something and I can never get away from him, and I feel like I'm moving slower. I should be keeping up at work. When I waited tables, I had the same lucid dream all the time. I am trying to get people plates and drinks, and because I worked at the Golden Corral, and I could never get the plates and drinks out fast enough.
That's
and people
not
were
lucid.
Getting mad. I realize what's going on because I know I'm a good worker. I know I'm good at what I do.
That's still not lucid.
No, lucid dream.
This is how I.
You would get that shit done with your. You'd be like, I'm just gonna float these plates over there. Well, it's not a lucid dream.
Can I tell you how do you start recognizing your lucid dreams? And my thing that I look for is, why am I not moving fast enough? If I realize I'm not moving fast enough, that's how I know that I can take control. Yes, because what I always do when I realize that this is what's happening and this is a dream, I fucking leave.
Okay,
I leave. I just leave the restaurant, and then I go. And once I leave the restaurant, then it opens up, and I'll start. Like, I'll be in Chillicothe, and then I'll go to. I'll just think like I want to be in Florida, so I cross the bridge in the park, and next thing I know, I'm in Florida again, hanging out with my old friends in Florida.
But you couldn't do it in the restaurant.
But in the restaurant, I was stuck in that slow motion.
That was a sign. That was like a sign.
And that's how I started to recognize
the spirit world that you need to get out of this restaurant.
I think you're right. I think that was me inside of me, like, dude, you can't wait tables forever because you just can't. Look at what's going on. Eventually, you won't be able to keep up or whatever was happening.
Or was that all just psychologically you telling yourself unconsciously?
That could, that very well could be also, but that's how I always recognize, and that's whenever I was just like, I don't even have to be here because I'm not going to get fired if I leave because it's just a dream. And that's when the coolness of the dreams would start. And I don't know if I would directly control them, but after that, it would always be so fun and cool because I'd be doing things that I really wanted to do. Like I would go see whoever I wanted. And it wasn't like I could fly there, but I would go around a corner. And,
it's not like you're flying, sort of.
Almost, yeah.
But the black and white answer to your question is I would think it was you. But there's so many different things, ways to answer that. I mean, depends on how you look at it. But black and white, if it's your consciousness, it's you because this body isn't you as much because in 7 years, all the cells are going to be different. Your hair grows or you cut it out. It's different. Everything changes.
Well, what about the theory about the cells or the heart having memory or spirit or stuff?
Your heart has brain cells, so I do believe it has a memory.
Oh, you're talking about like if you put someone else's eyeball in your eye, you see vision?
Or, well, their heart. Like your heart has something, but like we're talking about maybe even cells.
But it has.
I'm almost positive that it does.
It has there's also ganglions throughout your body that are masses of the brain tissue. I don't know, neurological tissue, I think is what it's called, something like that. I should know this, but I don't for some reason. So you make some decisions in your spine. Your reflexes, that doesn't go to your brain. It goes to your spine. That's why they're so quick. They don't have to go all the way to your brain. If you feel something sharp under your left foot, you're going to pull your left foot and stomp your right foot because you want to make up the balance, and you don't even think about that. You just do it. So, is
that memory in the cells?
Yeah, and muscle memory. Boxers are, fighters have muscle memory. You don't even think about these things. You get that from your spine. That's a fact.
Do the cells have consciousness?
But to what I was saying,
no.
I'm sorry. I just want to say this because I love talking about this thing. That's how transporting works on Star Trek. I know Star Trek's fake, but they use a real premise.
Star Trek is not fake.
Some of it. They don't explain their gravity very well.
They don't explain a lot of things, but a lot of scientists they've actually invented things based off of Star Trek. So it's more real than almost any other show.
Based off of them, but
they totally created the doors that open like that because they saw it on Star Trek. They created cell phones because they saw it on Star Trek. There's a lot of nuclear and scientists and space scientists that they watch Star Trek and they create the things they see on that. And
they had iPhones on the Jetsons.
That's true. They had FaceTime too. So on Star Trek, it rips you apart one atom at a time, sends the pattern somewhere, uses things around there to put a
isn't that like
3D printer?
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, the TV. Yeah. And it puts you back together, and then it shoots a beam and downloads your memories back into your body. Mm-hmm. And I've also seen other theories of transportation, like transporting humans and physical objects far away the same way. It destroys you here, rebuilds the body, and implants all your memories somewhere else.
I actually wrote a Star Trek fan script that me and this guy plan on trying to get made here soon. And it actually deals with a little bit of that, where they used their technology from the transporter whenever he beamed from here to here, it changed his DNA from being human to Vulcan, and then it re-downloaded his memory into that, and it had trouble downloading it in there. Anyway, at some point the Mafia kills him, but that just reminded me of that, so I figured I'd mention that.
I think a lot of people have a problem with body death, though. They probably would not think, like, if they killed this body and just downloaded your memories in something, that it would be them. They would be scared to lose their body.
I heard that this was a theory, like, that, energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Yeah.
And that you would carry over.
Be transferred.
Like, it can be, yeah. So, like, does your consciousness or something go with, like, there's an energy in you that's never going to be destroyed, but what goes with it?
Light. Yep, it's all light, man. What do you think this whole What do you think this whole perception of this planet is to you? It's all just a light show.
Yeah, kind of, but you also have hearing, and you also have your sense of touch.
Yeah, but I mean, you hear and you can touch, but what you see is your perception.
That's true. I know vision has a lot to do with that because I have eyes, but if I was blind, my sense of... I would still gain a picture of what's around me.
You would gain a very grady picture.
Well, we have a collective consciousness,
it depends on how
though.
good you are. Like there's sonar. Bats, use sonar.
Yeah, I mean,
the blind people
like
they
I
click
said
with
earlier,
their tongue, and they hear.
I've seen that guy riding the bike do that.
And
well, that goes along
you're
with
not
Daredevil.
paying attention right now to what your hand.
Back to Daredevil.
We have a collective consciousness, though.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. It's not you versus everybody. Yeah, everybody has that backwards. I think it's everybody looking out, thinking they're looking in on everybody else. It's everybody looking out. Because I mean, how do you explain like there are definitely random moments where you say the same thing as someone else, or you're thinking the same exact thing as someone else.
Humans kind of think along the same lines if you give them
think that's part of what I was saying earlier about the thought stream.
It's when you're in a community is when you think similar.
You don't have to be in a community. They did a test. Man, I wish I remember more detail about it. It took place in Australia and somewhere in Europe, and it was something about how many triangles or something like that they saw in this picture. And when they first started presenting it to everyone, everyone had the same guess. It was like 6 or 7 or something. But then they told everybody there's like 32. Then they sent it somewhere else in another country that didn't know, and because everyone in Australia or whoever saw it already knew the right answer because they've been told. Subconsciously, people could guess the right answer more often now, and I feel like
it was a brain hack thing.
Just like with me coming up with ideas and then they come out in the media, someone has that idea which spawns it, and now other people can actually pick up on it in some sort of telepathic link, and they can think of it. Now they don't realize.
First.
Have you ever seen the movie with Johnny Depp in it, and he
downloads his consciousness in that computer? Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing with that. Just like how he created this little, he created this little mechanical bioengineering bug that could fix things. And each time it fixed something, it could made a pair
improvement. Oh,
and then every time, like each time it made an improvement, which is like another one of itself, it became even smarter. So to fix something that took, it's just like basic computers, like something that we're using right now.
When robots start making themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end of the world.
You know what I'm getting at.
I know. I seen the movie. It was a pretty good movie. I like the idea of it. I don't think we're smart enough to do anything like that.
It was bioengineering.
Yeah, I love the idea of little robots going around inside of me and fixing things, as long as I can turn them off whenever I want.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
I'm gonna be to the restroom.
I would definitely do it. I would let them go in there and fix my heart. Well, you can keep. We'll stay on. You can keep it rolling. If you guys need to go use the restroom or whatever, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll need to after he gets back.
Oh gosh, yeah, man, we got to get a song.
We're gonna take
in.
a short break.
Yeah, then we'll play whenever you guys get back. We'll play. Is that cool?
Yep, that's cool.
Yeah, man.
Alrighty.
Down like a clown, Charlie Brown.